Vice President Biden hammering Governor Romney's record at Bain Capital, suggesting to Americans that he would run the country like a corporation. The VP saying that even though Romney grew up in Detroit and his father ran American Motors, he was, quote, willing to let Detroit go bankrupt.
I think he saw it the Bain way. Now, I mean this sincerely. I think he saw it in terms of balance sheets and write-offs. Folks, the Bain way may bring your firm the highest profits, but it's not the way to lead our country from the highest office.
But are the Democrats telling the real story about Bain? Deroy Murdock, syndicated columnist and Fox News contributor, joins us now with more. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Heather. How are you?
I'm doing good. So, Deroy, you wrote an article. You called it Obama's Base Banks with Bain. What do we not know about Bain?
What's very interesting is a lot of the people who are in Charlotte screaming loudly for President Obama's reelection actually benefit from Bain Capital's financial prowess. A financier in Manhattan who's a very good friend of mine named Brett A. Schisler and I took a look at this, and what we found is that many of the biggest investors in Bain Capital happen to be, for example, government worker retirement funds and pension funds, including those for public retirees, I should say public employees in Iowa and Nevada, and retired teachers in Ohio. They've invested something like $1.5 billion with a B in Bain Capital. Then you've got major elite universities which have their endowments invested with Bain, including such schools as Columbia University, where Barack Obama went undergrad, Princeton, where Michelle Obama went and got her bachelor's degree, and then Harvard, where they both went to law school. So you've got these very large government employee union type pension funds, major universities, and then center-left foundations such as the Ford Foundation and even the Oprah Winfrey Foundation, which have invested in Bain. So you have a lot of these groups which are sort of on the left side of the political spectrum who are complaining about Bain, and yet that's where many of them have invested their money, and they're profiting from this corporation, which they denounce as the sort of founders of outsourcing and a very cold-hearted company, and yet that's where many of them have their money, and they're, in fact, people who are pensioners who are enjoying their pensions because of the excellent financial returns that Bain Capital has been able to produce.
And that begs the question, then, why on earth would government, union leaders, university presidents, foundation chiefs let a company like Bain, oversee their assets?
I think what they're interested in is not the sort of social justice that you heard about in Charlotte. What they're interested in is very respectable and positive returns on investment. And private equity funds like Bain Capital actually deliver on those assets. What these big funds are is basically if you're a teacher, a firefighter, a cop, a first responder, what have you, social worker, this money is taken out of your check, put into pension funds. The pension funds then invest this money, and the intention is to invest it, have this money offer high returns so people can have comfortable retirements. And Bain is a private equity company that has invested its money. And, for example, the California State Teachers Retirement System has, I believe it's about what is the exact number? $1.25 billion invested in Bain. And the response from one of their spokesmen was, we're interested in high returns. We are not interested in political speeches. We want high returns for our members, about 850,000 retired teachers in California. And they're interested in seeing very high returns on investment so people will have comfortable retirements, including my mom, who, by the way, is a retired teacher in California. So they're not interested in speeches and green technology and all this sort of thing. They want to see these investments do well so that the retirees will have comfortable retirements. So they put their money into organizations like Bain Capital.
And Deroy,
what would be yes.
I'm sorry. And you also found out that about 80% of these institutions prospered.
That is right. Bain Capital, of the companies in which they invested, such as Staples, Guitar Center, Sports Authority, Bright Horizons, which is a daycare center, about 80% of the companies which they invested actually have profited, have had positive revenue. 20% of them did not do well, but when you invest in companies, they don't all prosper. But about 80% of them have prospered. They've hired people. They've added jobs. They've added private sector jobs. People are working for these companies. And so Bain Capital has had a very positive impact in the lives of many people, and people are enjoying very comfortable and profitable careers working for companies in which Bain Capital has invested.
Well,
the Democrats should talk about this, and they don't.
All right. Thank you very much, Deroy. We appreciate the insight.
Thank you very
Deroy
much.
Murdock, thank you.